Starfleet Underground. Every week, we'll take a look at the latest Star Trek news and then check out a current or classic episode of Star Trek.
A character from the past returns, and this time, she's not spilling hot chocolate. Captain Freeman and the Cerritos come in to save the day, but first, the ship has to get naked, and we're not talking about skinny dipping in Cetacean Ops. Plus, there's a season-ending cliffhanger where someone ends up in handcuffs.
Okay, number 1, engage cloak.
Cloak engaged.
All right, I think we're past Earth satellites here. Scanners indicate that they're not doing anything that we shouldn't be seeing.
Watch out for that asteroid!
No, this shouldn't be this close. We passed the belt. Oh, wait. Okay, I see them. Dot, engage tractor beam. Get that asteroid out of the way. Thank you. Now, engage transporter.
Energizing.
Good. All right, we have them on board. Let's drop the mic in there. Turn on. I want to hear if they're surprised or not while we get ready to head back out. Are they in here successfully?
Okay, here are the microphones.
Okay, honestly, I do not know how we wound up here. This is crazy.
This is weird. Look at this.
Every time.
Oh, wait, don't sit there. You're
I
staying on a
can't even
triple.
get a moment.
Good, we got them. Yeah, let's get the hell out of here now before Earth's finding this. So we drop cloak and then the satellites see us.
Aye, Captain.
All right, cool. Thank you, everybody. We did a successful smash and grab, so to speak. And wait, oh damn, the light was on. Everybody heard us.
Are we supposed to smash and grab humans?
Yeah, well, this time we did because we
I thought
really
supposed to grab them first, then you smash them.
No,
you smash and grab in the holodeck, not on the bridge.
We really wanted these two for the season finale of Lower Decks, and so that's why we did it. So we got to return them, I'm sure. All right, let them hear our conversation. We can bring up the mic, and we get ready to start the show. So, hi, my name is Captain Nathan Adams. I am a part of here, Starfleet Underground. We have a full crew and 2 very special guests. For those of you who probably heard her before, it'll take a moment before she recognizes that she's on board because we really grabbed them. So that's going to be really awesome. We have on here, of course, our wonderful science officer.
Hi, I'm Heather Ferris. I'm the science officer, and I think a couple Tribbles just snuck up on your ship, Stephanie. I don't know. You might be finding Tribbles later. I just hope you didn't leave any food on the ground or on the floor.
Heather, what have I said about beaming me randomly onto a ship with Tribbles? I always have food on me.
Hey,
Oh, no.
This time we made sure you had clothes on, though, this time. So we were good with that.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And we have my number 1 over here.
Hey, I'm Patrick. I'm number 1. I'm also the computer guy and the foreign species liaison.
And, of course, our illustrious engineer. Hey, Chief.
Hey, guys, the transporter worked perfectly this time. We didn't miss anything.
Did we get Brian, too?
All fingers and toes.
Wait, they didn't merge. It's not a Steph Bry.
No, there was no merging whatsoever.
So there's no Steph Bry. It's still Stephanie and Brian. Good. So it's Stephanie and Brian, not a Steph Bry. Thank God we didn't get a Tuvik.
Or duplicates.
A Steph brick.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay. Also, we have our special guest today. We have Stephanie.
Hello. It's me again.
And her most awesome, devastatingly handsome husband. I mean, he looks so good that blind people go, damn, who the hell was that?
Oh!
It's a true story. I've seen it happen.
Yeah. So go ahead, Brian.
Honored to have been smashed and grabbed. Thank you for bringing me aboard.
Well, you really haven't been smashed yet.
Yeah, and stay away from my computer guy because there's always a remote chance.
Yeah, you might get grabbed if you stand too close to him.
So the last thing he said before we beamed you aboard is like, oh my God, he looks hot today. So just be aware.
And that was from outer space.
I know.
I'm not wearing my glasses.
Yeah.
So wait.
We got in a big old conversation about holodeck activities.
So yeah, he might be doing a 3D scan for entertainment. So just be aware. Okay, first off, this show is of course being brought to you by Section 31 and our wonderful Patreon members. So thank you so much for keeping the finances coming in. We're able to spade and neuter Tribbles, and which is really good, and send them on vacation and get them out of the ship as they go throughout the galaxy doing our ambassadorship as well.
Yeah, they get to go to Ryza when we're stuck on the ship.
Yeah, they do, and they're used in all kinds of events. I'll just leave it at that. We have any corrections this time there? Number 1?
Let me check subs. This is not behaving properly.
Stop spilling lube on the console.
I do have one correction, and apparently I've been doing this for 2 seasons. The chief medical officer, the cat, is not Dr. Tana, it's Dr. Tana.
Are you kidding?
I've been calling her Tiana
Me too.
I've been
the
following
fucking
you.
time.
There's an apostrophe, isn't there?
Yeah,
It's
there's an
Tiana.
apostrophe. No, I watched the Ready Room last night.
Oh,
Mike
yeah, in the Ready
McMahon
Room.
said Tana.
Yeah, I
So
saw
for
that.
2 fucking seasons, I've been calling her Tiana.
Well, don't feel bad. The rest of us have been too. We're all messed up.
We followed your lead because we mispronounce words all the time. So you led us on down a deep, dark path. After today's show,
I'm just
you
so
would report
embarrassed.
to.
I'm like, how did that happen?
No, you're going to report to Holodeck 4. They got the St. Andrews Cross program. You will be suitably corrected.
Yeah, but it hasn't been cleaned from when you were on it, so I ain't touching it.
Well, I'll get the dots to clean it. Okay, news of the week. Let's see, Stephanie, you got any news for us?
I don't.
No news. Well, no news is good. How about you, Heather?
Yeah, no news is good news.
Hi, Captain. So my news is Anson Mount wraps up season 1 of Strange New Worlds. So they are done filming, and we will be getting that probably next year, right? 2022?
That is freaking amazing. I can't wait to see this show.
Me too.
It's going to be nice. I know it's going to, sometime next year. It can't come soon
Because
enough.
Picard starts in February, so it'll probably be, I would think, like April or May.
Yeah, if they're trying to do the back-to-back thing, that'd be...
Oh, that's going to be so good. And how about you, number 1? What do you got for us?
Well, our illustrious Captain Kirk has finally made the journey to real space. Wednesday, he went up in the Blue Origin rocket with, funded by Jeff Bezos, Amazon. And when he came back down, he was completely and utterly mindfucked. Like the dude was just
It was
beside himself.
It was the first kind of fucking that he's never experienced before.
If you watch the video of them in the cabin, it kind of sounded like he was.
He was like, wow.
Yeah.
He's the first one out of all of them to be up in space, right? Out of all the Star Trek people.
Well, and come back.
Scotty's ashes went up to space.
The
before
first
Shatner
live
did.
one, yeah.
Okay,
the
first
first live
live one, yeah.
And also the oldest, because he's like 90. People were betting that he was going to snap in half or have a heart attack.
Well,
or
George
something.
Takei made some comment about him not being a fit gerbil for the trip.
I think George is just a little bit jealous.
So I guess so they're going down in age, right? So first one was the Ashes, so he was already dead, and then we actually have a live one, but he's 90 years old. So the next one that will go up will probably be like 70 or 80 or something.
It's possible if they ask Walter Koenig or somebody.
Or older.
I know Jeff Bezos did this as a publicity ploy because this,
Of course.
William Shatner, as cheap as he is, didn't pay for it. So Bezos probably invited him on because he knew this would be a huge PR relation boon, especially after the whole thing about him getting people to pee in bottles. And what they do to their drivers is just unreal.
It's horrible.
But you know what?
It's unforgivable.
The thing is, though, I don't think... I mean, because we all know Shatner, right? He's kind of a pompous ass. He thinks he's, he's full of himself, right? I mean, he can be nice to... Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So for him to be so genuinely moved, I was crying when he was talking. I mean, it was like, I was so surprised and so taken aback by how deeply he was moved. It's like, he described it as looking down at Earth as mother and life, and then looking up at the blackness of space as death. And it was just like, it was just really crazy.
Astronauts typically have that response, though. You hear about how amazing they're blown away at the beauty of Earth. And the only way you can see it from that vantage point is the way it looks that way. I mean,
did he go that far up, or was he?
Well, he went far. Yeah, he went far up enough to see the blackness of space. So when you go up that far up, you can see both sides.
They went up 66 miles.
So they were okay. So it's not like he went up and he could see Earth and it was round. It was like he went up in the.
Yeah, I mean, he went up far enough to be technically in space. He didn't stay up long enough to do anything about it because they just went right back down. And it was interesting to hear the news stories talk about how they say, oh, he went into orbit. Well, technically, he did not do an orbit, but he was high enough. If he was going fast enough, they could have actually gone and do the whole orbit, but he was only going fast enough to get up there and to come back down again because gravity pulled him back down. Yeah.
5 minutes total.
Yeah.
It was enough time that, like I said, okay, I'm going to go use the bathroom. The ship just took off. All right, let me go to the bathroom, wash my hands, come back. What the fuck do you mean he just landed? He just left.
Yep.
That's how quick it was.
Well, if you weren't so constipated, you might have got out of the bathroom sooner.
Okay, so
well, they always said Shatner was fast. I didn't think he'd come that fast.
And it was kind of sad in a way.
Stephanie's like, what?
Come back down to the planet. Come down to the planet. That type of
That's what you meant. Sure.
I will say, I'm hoping that now that he's experienced the overview syndrome or overview phenomena, that he's going to be less of an asshat.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that and he's going to be able to be on the bandwagon of how beautiful the Earth is when you look down at it, and that feeling, how fragile it is. I mean, he literally, you fly through that little bit of the atmosphere, and he says, it was blue, and then you could see the little sliver of blue, and then next thing you know, it's all black. And that's how thin the atmosphere actually is. You can see it from orbit. When you look at the pictures broadcast back from the space station and whatnot, it's not that big compared to the rest of the planet. So it really makes you think about how this one atmosphere we have, even though from our point of view, it's like, it's just the air, guys. What's the big deal? You got to think about the bigger picture and how small it actually is within that big picture.
Yeah, well, I didn't like the part where you talked about, blue is life and then black is death. I mean, what the fuck? What?
Yeah, that was like one of his first set of words that came out.
It's like,
oh my God!
Racist.
Oh wow!
Turn around and say,
so he's pro-Andorian. Is that what you're saying?
It's like,
he's pro-Andorian. He's pro-green Orion. He's pro
Shatner
all
loves
that.
all colors of aliens.
All colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to interface with all of them.
As long as they have a hole.
What was funny to me in a way, and was kind of sad, and I actually for the first time felt really kind of sorry. He's waxing poetic about all of this stuff that's going on, and Bezos is giving him half a look, and then he turns around and Shatner sees that Bezos is not even paying attention to him, and he had this lost little boy looks like, I want to tell my story.
And that runs into what Stephanie wants to say. So
she's going to be polite. No, Stephanie's going to be polite. No, she's going to be polite.
Let us have it.
No.
Well, I just thought it was really interesting watching these two narcissists kind of duke it out for attention. And, I was heartbroken when I found out what kind of person William Shatner was when I was younger, because we share a birthday, and I always saw him as somebody that I admired. And then finding out he was just a racist, misogynistic piece of shit, it was like, oh, well, okay, great.
Yeah.
But I did think it was interesting that it was the most genuine word salad to ever come out of that man in his entire life. And in that moment,
he's dealt some salads before.
Oh, has he? And I actually had a real compassionate moment with him, because he had, for the first time in his life, he had something real. He allowed himself to have something real. And he's standing next to Jeff Bezos, who was, seeing that people were having a party next to him and he wasn't there. So he had to shoot champagne all over everybody, which I'm not even going to unpack that one. And then he turns back to... Yeah. And then he turns back to Bill Shatner, and he's completely incapable of engaging with this person at a human level. He's just posturing and trying to be, I'm Mr. Experience and I know exactly what you went through. And I'm watching him and I'm like, oh my God, I think Jeff Bezos is also melting down, because he didn't have this experience when he went up there. He was so busy thinking about how great he was that Jeff Bezos was he didn't have the overview effect, right? Yeah. And it was so clear that Jeff Bezos didn't have the overview effect, because if he did, he'd come back and he would unionize his workers and he would do everything he needed to stop being a POS.
Wow, you guys are really politicizing this whole thing.
Dude, I completely agree with Stephanie. I'm just saying, I'm on her side 100%.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, this isn't the fun, happy Star Trek-y stuff we want to talk about, is it?
But it
is, though. It is.
Yeah. It kind of is.
It's about understanding that you are one small piece of the whole.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that'll humble you. Throwing up in a rocket and seeing the Earth from that point of view will humble you, I think.
most people.
But clearly it
Bezos is
hasn't.
like a week or two after the fact when he went up. So it's kind of worn off on him already, right?
Well,
Apparently.
like Stephanie was saying, like he was probably so in his head about how amazing he was that he didn't actually take in the view of the Earth and what it meant and the concept, and he didn't get that.
Well, it's hard to get a view of the Earth when your own ass is in the way.
Yeah.
He might have been pissing in a plastic bottle. We don't know.
He's also been involved in this program since it started because it's his program. So he kind of like, he's already, been there, done that, and on to the next thing. He's
I
trying
wonder
to
if
figure out
they
the next
shaped the
steps.
rocket after him.
After Shatner?
No, after
If they shaped
Bezos.
the rocket after Bezos.
I think
Yeah.
they
Being
did.
a giant dick.
Isn't that
I
what
think
it
they
is?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, you have more money than most nations in the world. You figure, what can I do? Solve world hunger?
No.
Take care of the homeless?
No.
What can I do? I know.
Send him his ass into space.
I can flip the water. I can fix the water problem in all these places that have substandard water.
Nah.
I'll make a rocket so I can get into space for 5
Not
minutes.
not only just a rocket in the shape of a penis.
Yeah, it's pretty blatant.
It's horrible.
Rockets are typically that shape in general.
No, you do not have a head on a rocket.
No,
Yeah,
rockets,
this
rockets are
one-
typically vibrator shaped.
But
Yeah,
you
this
look at
is,
the engineering side
yeah.
of things. If you get more space up at the top, you don't have to make the entire rocket
But-
fit that. But
but does
aerodynamically, it still works as a rocket. So you save
But-
on the mass by not having the rest of it be the same shape. So what it looks like a dickhead.
Yeah,
He-
but this one is particularly pricky. Like,
I think the current
I mean,
generation
even
of the
has the
new
balls,
billionaire
too.
rockets
Oh
look
my God.
big and dickish. I mean, the spaceship
He's-
one from
that's the
from,
only spaceship
Elon
that looks
also
like
looks that
that.
way.
Shatner
No, it
looked at the
doesn't.
rocket. Shatner looked at the rocket and he's like, "Yeah, I'm totally going in there and doing this."
yeah.
Jeff Bezos is my favorite example of money can't buy happiness.
Yeah.
Every time I see him,
Yes.
he's just so sad, and it makes me so happy. Like it's only one. Like I don't take pleasure in people's pain. I do take pleasure in Jeff Bezos's unique sadness.
Well, and then he's got Lauren Sanchez, the freaking money hungry former TV anchor, as his new girlfriend. Like, hello,
Oh, really?
yeah.
You know what? I blame the patriarchy. I don't blame her. It's cool. She can take him for everything.
I'm only going to go by Owen Wilson's definition of
Oh, that
Bezos.
was so
I think Owen
good.
Wilson had a great representation, and that's the one I'm going to reference from now on.
That was so good.
What
That
did he
was-
do?
On SNL, they did a skit
Oh, that
about
was
Star
so
Trek.
wonderful. If you haven't seen it, you have to check that out.
Yeah, so it was 2 weeks ago.
He was extra cowboy, woohoo, and all that. I was all behind that.
Owen
and-
Wilson is perfection. He is such a delight.
And then they had an Amazon delivery guy beam aboard and gave him a package. He says, "Do you mind if I have to go to the bathroom?" And he goes, "No, you got to go back." And he tosses him an empty bottle.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I've talked to those delivery drivers. I've gone out and talked to them, and they said that, well, I think they politically try to say it correctly, but they said they have cameras watching them. And if the camera or the AI deems that they weren't doing something correct, it gigs them and,
Yes.
and it affects their pay.
Sounds
and
like
they
a
have
narcissist.
That's
If
messed up.
the AI deems them.
No, that totally sounds like a narcissist.
And when they
It's like,
deliver stuff, it's in a geofence. And they can't mark your package delivered unless, which I guess is good, unless they're actually within the geofence of your house, according to the GPS.
That's good though, because I've had
Yeah.
a lot of stuff stolen.
Yeah, so they do that. Okay,
Well,
this is supposed to be...
nonetheless, it was a very moving experience for Shatner.
It was,
so.
but
It
this
was.
is supposed to be a
Yeah.
lowest deck show, not let's jump on.
That's what I'm saying. Let's get more Star Trek-y.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch on. So, okay, who just gave the last news? Because I got lost.
Stephanie did.
Stephanie.
did.
Okay, and that means Heather gave her news, and so
Okay,
now
go
we're on to
Brian.
Patrick.
I did.
You just
Hello,
did your news.
I started
All right,
it.
and Brian said he didn't have. Brian, do you have news?
Well, I have personal news. Speaking
give
of
it.
narcissists.
Ooh, personal.
Go ahead. Let's go.
You are the
So-
least narcissistic person in the world, by the
This
way.
is
Well,
true.
the show just began. Let's give it some time. But so I'm going to say this is also Stephanie's personal news too. So the two of us are part of a 4-member team that created this board game. And for all the people who need board games right now, because we're still in a pandemic, MonteCristoGame.com. That's our board game. It finally came out this year. We're very proud of it. And yeah, it's not space themed, but it is island treasure hunting themed, and that's something.
An adventure.
So that's my news. It's a co-op adventure game.
Oh, look.
That's
Cool.
Christopher Maloney's nickname in his new series for Law and Order. When he goes to the waitress, his nickname is Monte Cristo.
That's cool.
Look at this.
Just a little bit of trivia.
Just because he likes the sandwich, or because he likes our game?
He was ordering the sandwich, but the waitress was Russian and she couldn't pronounce it, so he kept repeating it, Monte Cristo, because she was like saying like. I don't know what she was saying. I can't think of what it was funny. It was cute. So now he's Monte Cristo.
She
cool.
says hi to everyone. She's a waitress, but it's different. She seems so attentive and was always asking how I was doing.
That was funny.
That was funny.
That's the next section.
Next section.
Billups.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Well, when's your game? Is your game out now, Brian? Steph?
Yeah, it came out like maybe 4 months ago. It's brand new, but it is out.
Oh, and you're just telling us now? I thought we were friends.
You just had him on board the
well, I was
show.
just invited to be on the show now.
Oh my god! I'm just so deeply offended. Oh my god!
If people want to know more about
Before I was smash and grabbed, I was floating in space.
So in a way, we saved you.
If people
Yes.
want to know more about your game, do you have a YouTube video that they can watch? Do you have a website? Where can they go to find
so the
this?
website, montecristogame.com, it has links to playthroughs and videos, and I hope some unboxing. I haven't been to in a while, but there is, more importantly, a big buy now button, of which you can buy it now.
Sounds like something on Amazon.
It is that too.
Oh my god!
And how much would that wonderful game be? How
I
much would
actually
it
don't
cost?
know anymore. What is
The
it?
base game is $60 and the expansion is $40. So it's called The Treasure of Monte Cristo Island.
Ooh,
And it
Yeah.
is fun, and it's co-op, and it takes about 90 minutes to play.
that's not bad.
Right?
No.
I mean, D&D games take forever to play, so it's
Months.
Oh my god! D&D takes
Years.
like hours and days and yep, exactly.
I played a
Speaking of-
2-day card game of war once. This is not that. This is 90 minutes.
Wow.
I think we're on to Rocky's news.
Look at this.
Is it my turn
Yes, it
yet?
is.
Oh no, wait a minute. Dot just brought me in the game. Look at this. Wow.
You get a
This
game
is
early,
really
like before
cool.
all of us?
Well, I guess it was in the transporter room or something behind him. It looks, oh my God, it looks like a treasure box.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We
That's
are on
pretty
our way
cool.
to your quarters, Captain, and we're going to play
Oh
that
my
game.
God,
Game
it's
night.
got such
Game
great color.
night.
It's got great color pegs. The cards are well crafted. It's got these looks like coins. Oh, this is so freaking cool.
Isn't this fun?
Thank
This
you.
is
Look
great.
at this.
By the way, this is great content for an audio version of anything, but yeah, it rocks.
Well, does it have any sound effects? I can put sound effects in.
Says the creator.
Well, I just did. I just did the
bias
art, so I get to brag about it without
This
feeling
is
pressure
so
about
cool.
it.
But wait, what does it say? In order to find a treasure, players must gather resources from island to craft various items.
Yeah, so it's crafting.
Whoa, that's perfect for an engineer.
Yeah, there's a bit of crafting in it
Look at
as
this.
well.
I think Heather
you
will
gotta-
use the
you gotta do
transporter and
the
beat the
things
game
and-
like in record time.
What? And there's going to be a thief.
on my
There's going
way.
to be a thief that's going to hunt people down and try to steal their stuff so they don't win. This is so cool. Look at this box. This
Yeah.
box is friggin' amazing.
Thank you. So Brian is the illustrator. I'm the
cool.
producer, and it was created by Brian and Megan Scheidler of Good Nerd, Bad Nerd.
Oh, I love it. Okay. This is so
Very cool.
All right, we're going to have to finish this podcast really quick so we can all get together and play. All right. Rocky,
Yes.
you got news?
Now that we're
at
done
this.
shilling for somebody guesting on the show, how about buying shirts from Star Trek?
Yes. Don't please tell me they got what I want.
It's the Cerritos shirt, the T-shirt,
Yes.
the official adult
What?
T-shirt.
Yes.
You can
Yes. I'm buying
it's
it.
like $20, and you can go to shop.startrek.com and get your glorious Cerritos shirt.
Nice. And to take this thing away, we can try to look to see if it's on Amazon because we hate on Amazon. But they give us everything. right.
There's actually an Apple Pay button on that website, so if you wanted to play for that range of
Even better.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay,
that's my
so,
news. That's it. I'm
right.
just T-shirt loving.
All right, so that means everybody had their news, right? Everybody said their news.
I mean, you could talk about the Borg AMSR that's on
Okay.
YouTube.
All right. Yeah, actually, that Borg ASMR, if you're on Paramount Plus, if you go to the extras,
Oh, they have it on the Paramount
it's
too?
on the extras. It's an hour of the Borg Cube ambient
Yeah.
sound.
Oh my goodness!
And it's a video of it.
So if you feel
it's
like the world
really
is getting
cool.
you down, you can go get assimilated and just kind of
Yeah, you
relax.
want to go feel stressed for an
meditate.
hour?
So my news is that for those people that play Star Trek Online, every year they have a Halloween event and where you can get a lot of in-game swag or dances and stuff. And they used to bring one called the Fall of the Old Ones. And now they have a new one that's based off of Cat's Paw, the Star Trek original series Cat's Paw episode. So if you guys want to if you're in the game, go ahead and play. You got to get to the surface and get on the same evil that Kirk, Spock, and McCoy had. So you're going to get a grand prize. It's going to be a transmuter wand, a universal kit module, and an old one vanity pet. People fucking lose their minds on a vanity pet. So I'm sure it's going to be fun to play. All right, now that we've got the news articles and everything out of the way, we talked about our guests. Now comes the fun part.
What, you mean you're going home?
It's a recap of the show.
Stop that.
You're so lucky that the dots convinced me that I can't get rid of you just yet because you're upgrading 007. So, yeah, so go ahead. Let's go ahead and start the recap.
Okay, so this week's episode is Lower Decks First Contact, Season 2, Episode 10. So teaser, sidekicks, dust-ups, and promotions. The Cerritos crew plays sidekick to the First Contact mission with the Archimedes. Mariner and Jennifer have a dust-up in the corridor, causing Mariner to spill her box of contraband. While cleaning it up, she overhears that Mommy is getting a promotion.
That was so cool. And when I saw who the captain was,
yes,
she was the one that spilled. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. She was the one that originally had spilled coffee on Picard.
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate.
It was hot chocolate.
It was hot
Fresh
chocolate.
out of the hot chocolate replicator.
Yeah, so it was so cool. What a massive Easter egg. So she apparently, it didn't scar her for life because she became a captain.
Well, maybe she made up for it later in Picard's quarters, and that's what gave her,
But then you also had a Mariner carrying a whole box of contraband in front of her at the time her most hated adversary, which is Jen.
Oh, Jen. Well,
Jen's like, I don't even think about you.
It's like, I don't even think Mariner is on Jen's radar. I think Jennifer is just doing her thing and keeps running into Mariner. I was like, what the hell are you doing here? It's kind of like they have the similar attitude toward each other.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not on my thing and I'm not on your thing. It's just kind of, these girls are just not getting along.
Mariner's like, you dream about me and your stupid little butt.
She was so mad. She said that.
But what the hell was it that she was carrying? It wasn't Romulan ale.
I thought it was.
Wasn't it? I thought it was.
It was the blue liquid, so it could only be Romulan ale.
And how the hell she get a whole case of it? I could barely get a couple of bottles. And she got, wait, did I say that out loud?
Or Andorian Pee.
Andorian.
She worked for Amazon.
But did she go to the Andorian concert? Is that what that is?
Yes.
No, she was working in the warehouse for Bezos, and he doesn't allow a bathroom break.
It was
so they had
Amazon
to go to the
on
bathroom
the
somewhere.
space station. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I just thought it's like she got a whole case of the stuff and I can barely get a couple of bottles. And if Starfleet is listening, I meant through the replicator.
Yeah, of course.
Not actually, physically.
How about that starship that it looked like an Excelsior, but bigger?
It did.
That was cool.
The Archimedes. That thing was awesome looking.
It was pretty cool.
I think Mike McMahon actually tweeted that it was similar to the Excelsior, but those ships are actually still out there. There's still Excelsior class ships out serving.
That's awesome they brought that back.
Yeah, it was a nice looking ship, but it was interesting and it was surprising to see that after all that work she'd done for the 2 seasons that they were recognizing her. They were recognizing Mariner's mom for all the work that she's done. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. And then also, too, going back to Sonya Gomez, did you guys realize that the same actress that played Gomez in Next Generation was the one that voiced acted the character on Lower Decks?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's
That
great
so
continuity. Cool. And I have to give big props up to the Lower Decks team to make sure that kind of stuff happens.
Well,
awesome.
They had Alice Creed do the Borg Queen.
I mean, you get,
that's true.
The one thing I want to, complain about is people not using the actors' voices when they can, and sometimes it's schedule conflicts and things like that. But I was watching the Marvel What If series, which is pretty kind of crazy and cool, but they didn't get the David Spader as the voice as Ultron.
Yeah, because
James
a lot of them don't.
James Spader.
They don't. A lot of them didn't want to reprise their role for whatever reason.
They're
It's weird.
exhausted.
It's probably not enough money. But
no, they're exhausted. Are you kidding me? After all of those years playing those characters and having to do the press tours will burn you out.
oh, well, yeah, if you don't want to do the press tour, I can get it. But I mean, voicing the character, and then you get so used to this character with this voice that was done so well in the movie. And then they bring it down to the small screen and they get another cast another actor. I'm like, they couldn't wait till he was available? I mean, what was going on there?
Hey, what's James Spader doing?
Did they at least get an impersonator, or was the guy like not even close?
It wasn't that really. I mean, it took me a little bit out of the show because it was that far off.
Oh man, that's
kind of like the Muppets. The Muppet people are just not even bothering to like really replicate the voices, which I kind of respect because it's like, yeah, make it your own thing.
At some point, when you have a property that's that old, and I mean, you're talking about decades and decades, lifetimes
50, 60
years of characters. I can understand that. I can relate to that. It's like trying to
reset,
redo the Flintstones and try to find the original actors. I mean, it's not going to work.
Not to mention,
but
people die.
That's why I like Doctor Who so much, because when they switch doctors, when the first new doctor comes on board, the first show or so, he's got personality quirks and sayings of the doctor he replaced. Yeah. And then as the show progresses, their personality takes root and comes out. Yeah. So it's really kind of cool the way they did that. But I agree, the voice was not the same. But they
speaking of Doctor Who, I just got Alex Kingston's first book.
Ooh. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like her. Spoilers. All right.
But Lower Decks, loving it so far.
It is.
Me too.
So I guess we could jump to the next section.
Before we go to the next section, just one quick thing. So we were talking about Sonya Gomez being in that one episode where she spilled hot chocolate on Picard. If people want to watch that, it's season 2, episode 16, Q Hugh. And the very next episode, number 17, she assisted with the rescue of LaForge from the Packlids. I thought that was really cool. So I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, Packlid tie-in, exactly. I thought that was awesome.
It was.
You guys, there's something else I didn't realize, and I'm learning by doing a little bit of research here. She was also the 3-breasted alien on Total Recall.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like it's a proud fact that I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that. But she was, and she played a mutant. I mean,
you've just been waiting for like that to come up, right? Like just like the 3-breasted alien. Oh my God! Now she's in Star Trek.
We did the whole first episode of this podcast, and we were talking about the hot chocolate scene, and I totally didn't even know then. I would have brought it up way back then, but. Totally
that
didn't
explains why that little part on the screen where she turned around and looked and went eyes up here. She was directing it to you.
That's why.
So, yeah.
Well, I just love the one ensign was tripping in front of her and she's like, oh, don't even worry about it. That's nothing. You can't believe it.
That was nice. That was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Next section.
Yeah, that is the next section. All right, Patrick, move on.
Act 1. Malfunction Junction. What's your function? Bad news and waves of magnetic ionizing plasma.
Nice.
That's it. That was your whole intro right there.
What'd you expect?
I don't know. There was no 15 minutes breaking down.
I like the nice short sweet intro. That's pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that was just the teaser. I forgot.
Oh my gosh!
You're gonna recap the whole thing.
Oh my god! My brain is like someone. It's the magnetized ionic plasma that's got me fucked up. Okay,
so wasn't the 3-breasted image.
Oh, you're putting Bezos' rocket in places it's not supposed to go.
Yes. Okay, so Rocky, you're just gonna cut that. So we'll go from bad news and waves of magnetized ionic plasma. Rutherford's implant keeps malfunctioning, obstructing his vision. Boimler is prepping decorations for Captain Picard Day. Oops, sorry, Captain Freeman Day. Mariner tells the lower deckers that Mommy's getting a promotion. She runs to tell Ransom, hoping he's going to be really pissed. Dr. Tana calls Tendi to the principal's office. Mariner finds Ransom, Shax, and Billups in the mess hall and gives them the good news. When Freeman asks Ransom to take them out, he and the other bridge crew get snotty with her, and she orders them to her ready room. Before Tendi can report to Tana, she overhears her speaking and sees that her file is being deleted from medical. Tendi thinks she's being transferred off the ship. In the ready room, Freeman demands to know what's going on. Mariner spills the beans about the promotion. Freeman tells them she'd take them if she could, but she can't, and Ransom is not going to be captain. Tendi tells Rutherford that she thinks that she's being transferred aghast He checks the system and sees that her file has in fact been deleted. He decides Tendi should visit all the favorite places on the ship before leaving. They get emotional in the Jeffries tube where they watch the Tivoli pulsar. In the ready room, Freeman orders the senior staff back to their stations and that their complaints have been noted. Mariner tells Mommy she should be more forthcoming with her friends. Personal feelings can't impede this kind of decision, Freeman says, and a red alarm interrupts their argument. They rush to the bridge to see an unpredicted solar flare heading for the unstable planetoid, which is destroyed and sends a wave of magnetized ionic plasma that hits the Archimedes, causing a system-wide blackout.
Red alert.
Red alarm. Red alarm.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
I thought I'd just throw that in there since,
Very
that
cute,
was so
sir.
funny.
Very cute.
It was.
Okay, so this is where Billups was getting apparently hit on by a waitress. Is that what was going on?
Yep,
He was
thought
telling them
he
the
was.
story about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can relate to this because I get such good service. Sometimes I think I'm actually getting hit on, but they're just doing good service.
She says hi to everyone. She's a waitress.
It's her
She's
job.
supposed to.
That was
Yeah.
so funny.
So do hookers.
Well, yeah, but you give a different tip.
But it's different. She seemed so attentive, and she was always asking how I was doing.
So do hookers.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking from experience.
That was really fun.
I felt sorry for Rutherford because apparently he needed to download the latest Microsoft update because he kept getting that thing popping up and he can't see.
I loved the way the errors kept popping up and just covering his entire screen like old
That's
school
why you
Windows.
need an ad blocker.
He had that print server error that was a big
so
problem.
annoying, yeah.
Like,
Damn pop-up ads.
It was very relatable.
Right.
Brian, does that ever happen to you where you have like so much information that you get like a brain lock when you're trying to recall what you were going to say or
Yeah,
think
but
about?
unlike Rutherford, I just use my other eye.
Oh
snap!
Ooh, wow!
I don't know.
Burn for Rutherford.
not to bring in a wrench already.
Oh, you brought it.
Burned him.
There was logistical issues I have with the B plot.
That is so cool. So apparently he only sees out of the
it's an eye
robotic
plot.
eye, but not the other eye.
It's an eye plot. It's an eye thing, right? It's always a Star Trek eye thing.
It's
They
Apple's
have an
new
eye
device,
thing.
the iPlot.
Oh my gosh.
It shuts down your other eye, so you only see the alerts in one of your eyes, and it takes over your complete
Yeah,
vision.
just close the one eye and find out the other one.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is so
I
chaotic.
mean, that's how I'm able to drive home.
Close an eye.
That's a good point. See, I'm glad I asked you.
Good thing, yeah.
That is so cool.
My off the cuff pith and just come right out.
Speaking of eyes and Star Trek having a thing with eyes, and I know this is next section, but did you notice they had a drill going towards the eye?
Yeah, that was the eye thing.
That was the eye thing.
They
right
always
there.
they always do something with the eye.
I love though they had it is the next set, but they had the
Yeah,
image of him
next
on the
section.
screens. But yeah, it reminded me of RoboCop.
So
Yeah, it really did.
but you bring up a really good point, Brian, because I thought about it briefly, but the action kept going, so it escaped my brain housing group. But you're right. How come he just couldn't use his human eye?
It didn't impede my enjoyment of the rest of the episode. No, just saying it.
I mean, at some point, can't you just hit the cancel button and bypass the error message?
Well, his boner for Tendi was probably getting in the way of the other eye.
So it was like, just
Wrong eye.
ignore. Just
Don't get that in the
ignore
eye.
it.
Not in the
Ad
eye.
blocker. Just install the ad blocker like they said it would have worked. But it just. And then he does. Okay, I know there was a Captain Picard day.
Oh my God.
Why was there a Captain Freeman
man.
day? Is like each ship has its own captain
Each
day?
ship has
Ship
his
has
own
its own
captain.
captain day.
Yep, and
Boimler's got
Boimler-
enthusiasm, but
He
it's
was so
It's called
proud of
kissing
that
ass.
banner. No. He was proud of that banner. He
it
was.
was well done considering, but it kind of looked a little like it wasn't very original.
Decent band.
He wrote it like a
Exact
5-year-old.
copy of Picard Day.
It was pretty good. A really good job of banner for like a 7-year-old, 7th grader, whatever.
Or calves.
And then this is
Do we
one of
really
the
think
few
that
times-
Boimler's much older than that anyway?
Oh yeah, well,
I mean, at least mentally. I mean,
He's what? How old is he in this?
he's got to be in his 20s.
20s?
Yeah, he's got to be in his early 20s.
I would say late teens, early 20s, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's got to be. But this is one of the few times that actually I was kind of pissed off at Mariner because she just couldn't wait to sow disharmony against her mom.
She was excited about it.
She was just like, oh, wait, he's going to be mad? Oh, I can't. Good idea. And she runs and tells them.
Yeah.
It's like she slides up. You're sitting at the senior officers table and she's like, but you guys need to hear this.
Oh, she enjoyed causing that shitstorm for the captain. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This is my issue with that character. It's actually why I stopped watching the show for a while, because the idea of somebody just being an arbiter of chaos just to move the plot along, and she's so cruel sometimes, and which is why I like when she has her genuine moments. But
yeah, I hear what you're saying though, because Mariner's got this vibe about her a lot of the time that it's really forced and really doesn't feel realistic, but it's her part of her character and it's a part of the plot,
Coping mechanism.
Chaotic neutral.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I'd say almost chaotic evil, almost, because she takes
for
it
those
too far.
nerds who don't know what that is, those are D&D references and.
Yeah, because you have good, neutral, bad, and then you have chaotic. Oh shoot, what were they? They were chaotic.
Lawful. This chaotic, lawful.
Yeah.
No, chaotic neutral, chaotic good, and chaotic evil. There's no lawful in there.
Oh, there's lawful good.
Yeah, there's
right?
lawful ranks. There's lawful good, lawful neutral, and lawful evil.
If you guys can't see it, it's set up in like a square. So you have a square.
We're not square.
You can Google it, right?
Yeah, Google it. There you go.
We're cool, man.
Lawful good would be like Dudley Do Right, would be like RoboCop.
Yeah.
That's lawful
If you
good.
guys had to pick, what would you pick? What are you guys?
Oh, I'm definitely chaotic neutral.
Evil.
Cool.
I'm like Ursula.
You are like Ursula.
I think that I would be lawful neutral.
No, you're lawful good.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Really?
100%. You're lawful good.
Yeah, because I do a lot of good stuff. Yeah.
To a sickening point, yeah.
No, to a wonderful point.
Well, we're not talking about the point on his head.
We're not talking about his other point either.
Hey, what did you say? What'd you say, Brian? You would be what?
I'm the guy who designs the chart.
There you go.
He's the demigod.
There you go. Yeah.
Brian's the square who designs the chart.
I'm just doing layout. I'm like, all right, this is Hollywood squares, but it's of personalities.
No. Brian, bring the fire. I am the fire.
It's like a tic-tac-toe board of different personality types.
Well, that's exactly how it kind of looks.
I would like to be the circle that gets a square.
I think that's chaotic neutral.
Yes, Rocky, the chaotic neutral.
Rocky, yeah.
Totally.
Especially when he does his little evil laugh when he's doing all the sound effect stuff. So it's really cool.
Shouldn't we get back to Star Trek Lower Decks?
Well, we could talk about Tana thing when she's talking to their nurse. They had delete the file. She really doesn't belong. And poor Tendi was like heartbroken.
The classic victim of not being able to hear the entire conversation and freaking out about what you did here.
Never
I'm not asking.
Yep,
Here's my
never assume you'll make an ass out of yourself.
That's it.
Exactly. And she, Tendi, I think this season has had a really interesting arc in finding her voice, and also like acknowledging like how she's interacted with people within her friend group. That episode where they had the girls trip was a really interesting one. And we also got to see her past a little. So I found myself really like frustrated for Tendi as opposed to at Tendi this episode, because she has had such an awesome arc getting to really find her voice. And so I was like, why don't you just ask her?
Yeah.
Well, and Dr. Tana realized she was there, didn't you? You could see sniffing the air. She's like,
by her scent.
I smell some Tendi.
Yeah, you could see she could smell her. I mean, that was funny. It was very subtle, but it's like, oh, that cat can smell her.
And then she was looking for Tendi throughout the episode too.
Ooh, yeah, smelly cat.
And she's
it was
a smelly cat.
She's hiding on the warp core and she could smell her. I mean, it's like, wow, that's particular. She must have a very particular scent.
Smelly cat.
It's the pheromones. She can smell the pheromones.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where I kind of felt as a military person, I kind of felt bad for Freeman in a way, because she's on the bridge, she's giving them orders, And they're acting like pissy, spoiled children. Like, just move this ship,
that was really bad. That felt like
it's like what
they
the
were
hell?
pouting and throwing a temper tantrum.
It felt unmotivated a little bit to me, but I think it's just because of the pacing. It was really, really fast.
They were like being all grumpy and not wanting to do things, and that kind of bothered me because as a military person, there's nothing really to make a person obey orders other than the fact that they understand that they need to obey orders.
Well, they can beam people into space, so I would fall in line pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But an ensign could beam people into space. So what doesn't, why doesn't the
I'm
ensign
sure there's
have
a safety
power?
protocol or two we can put in the transporter.
Well,
Just like we did what they call as NBC Defense, nuclear biological class. And it's about what you do if you get hit with gas attack or something like that. You got to put on a suit.
Take some Tums.
A gas mask suit that covers you.
It's
bad. Nerve
a little more
agent.
Tums, yeah.
They added those protocols after the Barclay incident.
Yeah. And then what happens is that one of the things that I asked, they said, what you do is that when everyone is in full mop gear, in order to tell if the area is clear, you go to the lowest ranking person and you tell them to take off their mask after they run in place for 5 minutes and you watch them. If they keel over and die, it's not safe. And so my question was,
if the canary comes back,
yeah, and this is well, what happened if
the mine?
We all are Marines and we have weapons. What happened if they pull their gun to my head and says "fuck you"? And the instructor, without missing a beat, says, "Then you promote him on the spot and find the next lowest ranking person." So much.
I think it's a beautiful example of chain of command. It's probably not accurate whatsoever.
Beautiful example of mutiny.
Yes.
Or getting yourself thrown in the brig.
And that's how we ended up with our own starship.
Controlling the means of transportation.
But Freeman was relying on the fact, and when they didn't listen to her, she's like, well, get in my ready room, which again, that was another point I wanted to break. Sorry, I'm getting all over the place. All season, the beginning of the season, when Lower Decks first started in season 1, a Boimler and Mariner's biggest dream was to be on the bridge. And if you notice, they made it. They were at the bridge consoles.
They were Chekhov and Sulu.
Yeah, but they finally made it part of the bridge crew. They always wanted to be a part of the bridge crew.
But do we know whether that's going to be a permanent thing or whether that was just for this?
Well, it seemed like it was a permanent shift. They were sitting on the bridge crew, both of them right there when the thing happens. And
I think it's just a matter of convenience of plot because sometimes they're on the lower decks and sometimes they're on the bridge. I mean, it's just part of being an ensign.
They were finally raised to the level of Harry Kim. We don't know if they'll ever get off of that level, but they finally got to the level of Harry Kim.
Ensigns forever.
Harry never got off of the level.
Poor guy.
My question is since when did Rutherford start doing shifts in Cetacean Ops, and why the fuck haven't we seen this before now? Like, we're 2 seasons in. By the way, this show is not meant for kids.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot.
So Cetacean Ops, this is the first time since we've ever actually seen Cetacean Ops
since it was mentioned in
TNG.
It was really, really good.
Wasn't that fantastic?
I was very happy. Did that happen in this section?
No, I don't think so. Not yet.
Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah.
No.
We're just going to
it didn't.
take a quick pause for a second. If you're a kid and you got away with listening to us from now on, you're going to have to leave the show because it's not meant for children. However, before you leave the show, get online, get your parents' credit card, and buy The Treasure of Monte Cristo Island. Okay, go to that website, buy the
Monte
game.
Cristo Island or Monte Cristo?
Monte Cristo
Wait,
Island.
which one's a sandwich?
And then
It's a sandwich,
play
right?
the game
Because the other
while
one's
the
an
show.
S&M game.
You're
That's
telling
right.
them to buy a sandwich? An S&M game. Holy cow.
You buy the game. If you've been sneaking listening, you understand exactly what I was saying. So buy the game. This way you can entertain yourself while you're not listening to this show.
Yeah, the Count of Monte
filling
Cristo
them with
game can be played
ads.
with the St. Andrew's cross that's in the holodeck.
Oh, okay.
You can be lathered up and stuck on the cross.
Okay, and if you're
Oh, well, you missed it, Stephanie. A couple episodes ago, Nathan wasn't on because he had been chained to a St. Andrew's cross in the holodeck and couldn't get out.
it was because there were
Nathan.
3
Well,
lights.
he got out that one time. He just didn't have any clothes on, and he had to go
There
back
was
in.
Yeah, the dots follow me.
There's a
But
very
before we get back to
particular
the
set
show,
of hologram safeties programmed into the S&M programs.
and
Just
it wasn't
wanna let you
working
know.
right. There was no safe word. Before we get back to the show, however, one more thing about the treasure. This is a live review here for you guys to go out in Canada. Clearly, a lot of careful thought, planning, and play testing has gone into this game. The artwork is great. Every character has a male and female version to play with diverse backgrounds and stories. The components are very high quality, and the gameplay provides an exciting balance of emotional ups and downs. This is an instant buy if you and your family are fans of games like Forbidden Island and enjoy shows like Tomb Raider and Raiders of the Lost Ark. We're super excited to be able to play next time with an expansion that offers one player the chance to play as a thief, as well as new challenges and more complexity. So if you're listening to the show and you're a kid, you see right now, buy it. Now back to our show.
I'm going off the rails real quick. Okay, so have you guys ever...
As usual.
Hold on.
Okay. Have you guys ever played Fireball Island?
I don't know if I remember that game.
No.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Isn't that a fun game? It's just the whole thing talking about, treasure hunting and that kind of thing to reminded me of Fireball Island and trying to get the jewel and running off the island before the fireballs get you. And it's like it's an 80s game for anyone who doesn't know. It's an 80s game.
And they just they did a re-release.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
3D
that.
printed elements to put on the island. It's really cool.
I mean, I thought fireballs was what happened when you got a venereal disease.
No, Fireball is a drink of cinnamon liquor.
Yeah, I thought so you do shots of it, right?
Yeah. So what we're talking about Cetacean. What the hell was the Cetacean?
Ops.
But that's the next section.
Oh, never mind.
But they said that Rutherford was doing shifts in Cetacean Ops, and I'm like, when?
Before we move on, I just wanted to say that my favorite line of the whole episode happened.
Is it the rubber ducky room?
No, it's actually Lieutenant Jax. I mean, I have a soft spot for Bajorans, but when he was like, "You're lucky I'm spiritually aligned."
That was funny.
No, I was like, I was going to bring that up.
It was so relatable.
It was in tears. I thought that was so funny.
I feel like out of all the characters on the show, he's the one I relate to the most because he's always just got a little bit of rage on this, like just bubbling under the surface, but he's a spiritual being,
And
You're lucky I meditate.
They talked about on the Ready Room about, how Shax came back, and they're like, they don't even know.
Yeah, they have no clue.
They're like, it's just something that happens with Bridge Crew that, you can come back, but like he doesn't know how he came back. Neither does Mike McMahon, apparently.
Oh my God, I love that so much.
It was, I liked also how they took Tendi and did basically a memory tour of the different spots that they've worked at. And it's like, oh, I remember that. I remember when they're looking at the pulsar and the Jeffrey tube. I remember. So that was kind of cute.
I love the Cerritos.
Yeah. I got a confession. I love the Cerritos too. So I thought that was kind of neat.
So
that was really cute.
Yeah, I still ship them as a couple. Go ahead.
My question is going back to bringing people back to life, the Bridge Crew. Why didn't they do that for Tasha Yar?
Because they weren't a funny cartoon.
Oh, okay.
And she wanted out of her contract.
Yeah,
and then realized that was a mistake.
She wanted out of her contract.
The
In that
real
case,
life problems.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
And then she realized it was a mistake and begged them to come back. And so she came back as her daughter, Sela.
Oh,
thank goodness, because that's a great character.
Yeah, it was.
They made positive moves off of that negativity. So I like that.
Yeah, that was all Red writers' credit. They did a fabulous job of figuring a way to bring her back.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So they sat there and goes, how the hell are we going to do this? The Enterprise B.
It was so brilliant.
Yeah.
It was so brilliant.
Well done. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I got a thing. What's up with maintenance hatch 7088? It's 7088's always warm to the touch. Like really warm to the touch.
So much that she burned herself.
What's going on in there?
People getting down and getting funky.
There's something unshielded in there, obviously.
It's like a loose wire or something. I mean, your maintenance hatch shouldn't burn you.
No.
A loose wire. I love that imagery. A ship like that.
And then they'll know about it, and then they don't put in a work order to fix it.
Yeah, it's still working. It's just hot.
You should find out
wrong with it.
Well, on cold nights, they like to gather around there.
That makes sense. That makes sense, except they don't have cold nights in starships.
I can see a bunch of them all around and at the third shift crew sitting around that shaft. Kumbaya.
Eating s'mores.
Cozy up to the maintenance hatch.
Really toasting pieces of bread against the hatch wall.
And then when they talk about going somewhere off limits, and she's like, "Oh, the rubber ducky room." I'm like, what the hell?
That's right next to the St. Andrew's Cross.
Ah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's right next to the Cetacean Ops.
No,
That would make more sense.
But then we have the explosion, that solar flare that comes out, which in our reality here is a real danger. There's a solar flare ejection can reach Earth's orbit and really fry shit up. So we're lucky.
Well, it's really interesting when you talk about events happening in space, because when you're in space and if you don't have the proper shielding,
no one can hear you scream.
Well, no one's going to hear you scream because your comm system's going to get on fritz and you're going to go, oh, look, a solar flare. And they won't hear anything because it just zaps.
Well, I thought it was interesting they compared it to, and I'm probably going to butcher it, an EMP. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. You said it
correct.
right.
You did not butcher it.
Oh, yay. Cool. But and that stuff, that's scary. If you know about an EMP, it's like, oh man, that's pretty scary. And then to have that be a planet and then do that for an entire ship, I'm like, whoa, that's actually freaky.
That's why everyone driving around a modern car with all the computerized accessories inside, a car made in the last 20 years versus the old school cars that are just, old fashioned style. Those ones won't fry as easily in an EMP compared to the ones with all the chips.
That was the one thing I thought was cool.
When the apocalypse happens, you want to find a 67 Ford.
You want to get a jalopy.
That was the one thing that I thought was cool in Tom Cruise's War of the World, when the aliens came out of the ground and they did a pulse and everything stopped working. The only thing did work was an old car.
Yeah. Well, I'm screwed because then I'm going to have to learn how to drive a stick.
So
it ain't that. I took my driving test in a stick, and it's not that hard.
All of these millennials will never be able to drive with a stick.
They can't even dial a rotary phone. So
Oh my god! Or even a push button phone.
Hold on a second. I just want to point out that I'm a millennial and I'm 40. So I think what you mean is Gen Z.
Ooh, we got corrected.
Wait, is Gen Z above us or below us?
It doesn't matter because Gen X is laughing at both of you.
They're born after the millennials.
I learned how to do a rotary phone when I was 3 years old, and that was the only time I had to use one.
Who are you calling, 3 years old?
I was at my grandparents' house, and they had an old rotary phone, and I wanted to call my mom.
Oh, okay. So they had you dial. Okay,
and so they had me dial. Yeah, so I learned how to do it, and it was 3 years old, and it was the only time I ever used it, and I never used it again.
I was worried that you were calling a whatchamacallit number.
At 3 years old?
Exactly.
When I was growing up, the big thing was when you got a cordless phone. Like, oh my god,
that was a huge ordeal. And you had to take the antenna, you had to stretch it out, otherwise it wouldn't sound so good.
Yeah.
I love that cord. It's the only way you can hang family members.
Remember the very first Remember the very first cell phone, how big and clunky it was? I was watching Are You Afraid of the Dark?
They called them bricks for a reason.
Yeah,
I know, right?
They were powered by a brick.
I was watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? They just released it on Paramount Plus. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. It is awesome. And one of the episodes, they had a cell phone. The one thing that Brian perks up on.
Listen, as a lifelong member of the Midnight Society, I am in.
Yes. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society.
Got this lit match, bringing it down.
This whole episode, Brian's like, whatever. You bring up what happens in the dark, and Brian's like, boing.
Are you afraid of the dark?
Are you afraid of the dark?
Listen, it's like Saturday nights. It was about Snick and the orange couch, and I was there.
Too funny.
Have we gotten to Act 2 yet?
No, we need to move on to Act 2.
Okay, then let's before we move in, let's talk about the flare happens and it hits the thing, and a captain's worst nightmare is to have your ship go completely dead. And
like you.
Well, that's how Act 2 starts.
No. It was the last part of Act 1.
Well, it was the last part of Act 1, and then that's how Act 2 starts.
The ship falls into a blackout and starts drifting.
That's probably the worst thing in the world, is being in outer space and having the power go out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah,
let's move on to Act 2 so we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I'm itching to discuss it. Yeah.
Here's an idea. Let's move to Act 2 so we can discuss it.
Wow, you think? Oh my. What a novel idea. Okay. Act 2. Blackouts, max storage, and joysticks. Oh my, it's Cetacean Ops. Finally! As the Archimedes crew recover, they find all systems are offline, backup power too, and they have fallen into a gravity well which will cause them to impact the Lapirian homeworld. As the Cerritos monitors the situation and tries to come up with a rescue plan, all possible actions would disable them as well. Mariner follows Freeman to the captain's yacht, which Mommy intends to take to the Archimedes. She doesn't know that Tendi and Rutherford are hiding on the ship. Mariner likens herself to Kirk. The nerve. As Beckett and Carol fight, Rutherford realizes how to save the Archimedes and suggests removing the outer hull since they can't discharge the magnetic shielding. The outer hull won't be needed since they aren't going to warp, and the inner hull will keep them safe from the vacuum of space. Freeman orders all officers to help strip the outer hull. The crew begins a massive spacewalk to strip the ship. Rutherford's implant is still malfunctioning because his storage is maxed out. He's been keeping 3 backups of his memories with Tendi in case he forgets again. When the view screen's detached, Ransom has to pilot by sight and a massive joystick. Joysticks. And the Archimedes, Gomez tries to get a shuttlecraft operational but is unsuccessful. The ship is still completely without power. Coming back in from stripping the hull, Freeman tries to make light of her leaving by telling Mariner she won't have anyone to consistently anger her anymore. Mariner gets upset and says Mom is always trying to change her, and tells her she's glad she's going because she never wants to work with her again. There's one last panel that can only be released from Cetacean Ops. As Rutherford begins to purge his duplicate memories, he sees one of the people who gave him his implant. Kimolu and Matt, the 2 Lieutenant Junior Grade Beluga Whales in Cetacean Ops, flirt with Rutherford as he tells them the last hull panel is way down the hydro tube. But being whales, they can't release the panel. Mariner says she'll do it, but Boimler makes her go apologize to Mommy before it's too late. He jumps in the pool and swims down to release the magnetic clamp. Kimolu and Matt escort him. Ransom is navigating the debris field when Mariner comes to the bridge and hugs Mommy, apologizing for her behavior. Freeman admits she was a jerk too. Boimler struggles to release the clamp, finally dislodges it, but tears a hole in his EV suit in the process, and loses consciousness before he can get to the surface.
This was a very cool part because you see a lot of things going on. One, you witness Boimler actually, despite him doing childish things from time to time, shows real flashes. But he shows real flashes of emotional maturity whenever, like he had his speech with the red shirts, and when he's able to really prove a point and to put things in, he actually made sense to Mariner. So I thought that was cool. And then we get a chance to see Horny Whales, which was funny.
That was the best part.
That was.
You're so sweaty. Why don't you come in the water with us?
Yeah, come on. You're so sweaty.
Broad shoulders.
Their full argument where he's like, maybe you should get with it, Matt.
Come skinny dipping with us. And then that one whale's like, I already asked him that. You're not with it. Or you're not
paying attention.
Yeah.
I will say another really, really, really awesome thing that I always wanted to see, and I feel like Lower Decks is really good at kind of giving Star Trek fans the glimpse into things that they always wanted to see, but it's difficult to do even with movie magic, was getting to see the ship without the outer hull and getting to see
was wild.
How they were taking it apart.
It looked really steampunk.
Yes,
Totally.
it did.
Yep.
Perfect description. Yes, it looks so steampunk. And there's something really cool about this idea that our heroes are out there working together as a team, really kind of for the first time. Because even when they were being tested, you know, for all their different things, including when Boimler, you know, when he had to do the Borg thing. But even with that moment, they weren't nearly as together as they were in this moment, dismantling their ship. And so having them be vulnerable with each other and then having them navigate the ship that is incredibly vulnerable, that was just so cool to me.
Yeah, they were completely cohesive. They were a Borg collective.
Oh, as a crew, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I just think it was pretty bananas to say, okay, let's just take off the whole, you know, pull off the hole. Not a big deal.
Right.
Just take it all.
We're gonna strip.
There was only one person that got mad, and that was the ballroom dancing. She just threw her shoe on the floor.
Oh, that was delightful.
She was so upset.
That was so delightful.
And the formal dancing competition has to be postponed.
Dancing
so
with the
great.
stars. And Tendi's like, are you saying it can't be done? And Freeman's like, no, I'm saying we have to hurry.
Yeah, that was great too.
Yeah.
And everyone did their part. They're all out there with magnetic boots, and they're doing it. I thought, like you said, it was really cool, both to see the ship like a model.
Yeah.
And then I kept thinking, it's like, oh my God, who's going to pick up all those panels?
Right. Thank you. I thought that too.
Well, all the panels just magnetize towards the rocks and everything. And, you know,
you probably don't want those panels.
No, you probably don't. No.
So
but
that was cool.
I liked Mariner comparing herself to Kirk. I was like,
yes.
She's a Kirk-Style free spirit. Yeah.
Okay, so you're a bloated, egotistical douche.
Yes.
Sometimes she is, though. Sometimes she is, and it's not the right way to go.
She just rode a penis rocket. That's how they're similar.
She can put a smile on her face.
She's in the holodeck on a penis rocket.
That's why. And then going back real quick, when they're releasing the holes, how do they have that many space chutes and shoes? Like, I thought they would have
you would have to have one for every. You would have to have one for every member of the crew.
Yeah.
Does that mean there are times? Does that mean there are times when the space crew doesn't use their escape pods and they just like put on their spacesuits and fly out into space?
That is a very valid observation. I think
some lessons from the Titanic to stock up on rescue and escape things.
It's just part of Starfleet when you get a uniform and you get a spacesuit.
You guys don't realize that that's also aboard this ship. Everyone's got its own, because what happens if the escape pods are all done? You gotta have. Don't worry. If something
I want
happens,
to practice. No.
I know, because I know how you
on my
are.
suit.
They have a replicator. Don't they just make more of them?
Oh,
I'm a new Star Trek fan.
Yeah, so
they weren't able to shit that much.
I heard what happened on board your last
Brian,
ship.
you don't know that replicated food is made out of your bodily
excretion.
waste.
Yeah, but are we just we're introducing scarcity now? Like, they can still make it though, right?
Yeah. There's always one.
That's why the apples taste the way they do.
No, there's always one spacesuit for every personnel that's on board, except for guests.
And Heather, I mean, you've had to put your spacesuit on. I mean, after the captain has chili, I mean, we all have to wear our spacesuits.
That's right.
The rules. We just take and remove the screen from the
cosplayed.
No.
Don't you remember that we're actually in space right now?
I'm in the holodeck a
Go
lot.
see for yourself.
I just might venture quarters after this.
No, we put on our spacesuits. We have to vent the atmosphere from the ship after he has chili.
Windy Wednesdays.
Yes.
After Taco Tuesday, there's Windy Wednesdays. And that's why we take the screen off the bridge every once in a while.
Spring, that was a hero moment for
Boimler.
No, the other dude.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Boimler, because it was a hero moment for Boimler.
For Ransom also, because he's like, what good is a dead viewing screen? And they get rid of the view screen.
He grabs that joystick. He's like, I'm going to take him out, baby.
Is it just me? Is he's got a skinny joystick?
Well, yeah, because
you think it should be more girth on that joystick?
It's kind of short too.
Yeah. But I liked how Mariner was doing what they do on helicopters. Whenever you have a helicopter just flying in an area or in a city, you have a spotter that leans outside the door. And the spotter is supposed to look for any navigational hazard to warn the pilot. If you ever been driving, you ever notice those balls that are on top of the tension wires?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
the power lines. Those balls are for helicopters, so they can see the line. So this way they know they don't fly into those power lines. And so, but you got a guy who's supposed to lean off the side and look for navigational hazards, and that's what Mariner was doing, which I thought was pretty cool.
Balls are a good thing.
Yes, I thought that was as crazy it is to take off the hull and knock off your view screen and just look straight out to the open space. I thought it was well done by the crew. It was just like taking the ship apart in a speed moment. As fast as possible. Also coming together as a crew and navigating that ship with basically no assistance from the computers. That is also requires a lot of manual effort and teamwork, and they excelled. Well, and they bumped it around a couple times, but mostly excelled.
And math.
Also seeing what a ship looks like with a real front window.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he had his own heads-up display. All of a sudden,
I'm hearing Melissa Etheridge, "Come to my window."
They're rolling in space. They're rolling in space in a Cerritos convertible with the top down.
But to go back on your earlier comment, yes, it was also a hero moment for Boimler, because he dived in and the whales, sandwiched him as they wanted to do, and they brought him down to where he needed to go.
And next season, we'll find out that Boimler is pregnant.
No unconsenting pregnancies.
But it was kind of funny to see the beluga whales at actually Starfleet uniforms also, and they
were
bickered
so
like a married
cute.
couple. They were.
I must admit that was a very cute adaptation, and to watch the after show, Mike McMahon actually said he didn't call it out by name, but he said Quest C or something like that. It was a Sequest reference.
Sequest DSV, yeah.
And that
love
was
that show.
a pretty cute part of that show. They always had the dolphin they go talk to.
Darwin.
Yes,
Yeah,
Darwin.
that's right. That was a cute show. I like that show.
And,
I love that show.
The names of the beluga whales, Kimolu and Matt.
And Matt, yeah.
Yeah, Matt cracked me up.
Keep up, Matt. It's like,
Kimolu and Matt.
it's like pay attention, keep up. No.
You need to keep up, Matt.
That was funny.
Did you notice how upset they got because the handles don't work with the flippers? They're like, "Hey, we can't do this."
They got pissed.
It's like,
But
hey,
it's so
why don't you?
obvious to them.
It's like
Yeah.
you look so hot and sweaty. Why don't you take off your put your broad shoulders into the water with us?
The broad shoulders. Every time they said broad shoulders, I lost it.
That was so,
It's so
funny.
specific.
It is.
Because we don't have shoulders. Those are attractive. Yeah.
That was so
That's a good
funny.
point.
But they did live a little bit of what they call as mini cliffhangers. Shows will have mini cliffhangers before the commercial to ensure that you're going to come back and watch after the break. And with Boimler all of a sudden passing out with the bubbles, you're like, holy crap, what's going to happen to him? So I thought that
It
was
definitely
kinda-
gets your
we
attention.
knew.
Yeah.
We
I'm very
knew.
happy to
He
not
was
have to
gonna-
sit through commercials to watch the next act.
So he was
Still had
fucking
the act break
busted.
those.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice that when they were at the very last panel and they couldn't get the panel off, Billups started cursing by saying dragon's blood?
Yes.
Yeah, that was funny.
I
He
laughed
swears
my
in,
ass off.
in Renaissance Fair.
Yes, dragon's blood. I'm like, did he just curse?
He did.
I think he just cursed. Oh my gosh.
I love that character so much.
Yeah.
He is a virgin still, so we have to give him some leeway.
Oh, by choice. By choice.
Yeah, by
Yes.
choice. It's different when it's by choice.
Yep. And then you get Mariner and Freeman realize that, yeah, we do really love each other. It's like, I'm sorry, Mom, I was a jerk. And she's like, yeah, I was a jerk too.
I just hope that this doesn't continue throughout the rest of the, existence of Lower Decks, because they need to stop fighting each other.
I
Yeah,
agree.
they do.
I mean, once in a
well-
while you can get on one another's nerves, but to the point where it's just like, I'll never talk with you again kind of thing. Just
Yeah.
Well, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and Freeman's not going to be there next season because she's going to be in jail. So Mariner,
You're
is-
jumping the gun. Hello. Spoiler.
Oops, spoiler.
Oh my
Next
God.
section.
That was like
Spoilers.
a Irish Spring leap right over everything.
So, did you notice how Freeman said Cerritos Strong?
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's like, did you notice that's like a reference to the Vegas Strong slogan? Because I think
Yeah.
Vegas was the first one that started using the term Vegas Strong after the mass shooting on October 1st.
I don't know. I
Which,
should
by the
look
way,
up.
I don't know if you guys know this, but my niece was shot in that.
Oh my God, really?
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Her leg was shattered by one of the bullets.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so she still has. I mean, she's fine, but she still has like physical issues with the leg. But yeah, but
I'm
it was
so sorry.
that was a weird, a weird day.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
country music and angry people don't mix. Well, that can be said for all music, But
An
except
angry-
I never heard anybody going crazy with classical music.
You know
I
what?
have.
Just
Oh,
wait,
I have.
there's some Wagner out there that will piss you off, man.
It would not surprise me.
I was
would
going to
not.
say Exhibit A is Hitler and Wagner.
Oh my God.
Any serial killer in a movie.
Yeah.
I'm imagining Beethoven getting in a bar fight.
I get just it's like,
Yeah.
this is bullshit. There's nothing but Mozart. Fuck you. Play Beethoven.
I get Bach has a punch.
Yes, he does.
Right.
I want Toccata and Fugue. You're the only person I know that wants Toccata and Fugue played as a birthday song. So,
One of my favorite quotes on this section was from Shax, where he says, "Nothing explodes around here unless I'm the one blowing it up."
that was funny.
I laughed.
That was funny.
He hasn't been here on Windy Wednesdays.
Oh man! Did you notice how excited Tendi was for a fancy dinner? She was like, "I hope it's fajitas."
I know.
Yeah.
She
Is that
was
a
so
fancy dinner?
excited for fajitas. fajitas.
Are fajitas fancy?
Yes,
it
they
would
were.
be to an Orion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up, fajitas was the fanciest thing you could get.
Oh, okay.
And
Seriously.
the lower decks replicator doesn't make that.
Well, it
yes.
should now. They got the upgrade
I
a
hope.
couple episodes ago.
Including pesto.
Yeah,
You
made
know how
pesto.
that-
Pesto.
You
And
know
not just
how that
regular
red
fajitas.
tape is.
No, not just regular fajitas, but the sizzling ones.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
remember being a kid and you hear that sizzle and you're like, oh my God. Then 10 other people buy it. Fajitas sell themselves.
It's like, I want it.
My parents never bought me a fajita.
Oh my God. It was the biggest luxury.
Hey,
That just says how white trash we are.
Yes. I think so.
How trailer park we are.
Very much.
go to the replicator and make a fajita.
Nathan, why did you get so far away?
I give it to I'm talking to the dot. Hush up. Go to the replicator and make a fajita and bring it to the chief, okay? Thanks.
Ooh,
All right.
you're
I
gonna
guess
get a treat.
we can move over to the next section.
Next
If we're
section.
done on this one. Are we done with this section?
Yeah, I think we are.
Oh wait, one more thing. Thank God that it took 20 hours before impact, because they would have been screwed if it was like 20 minutes. Okay, I just had to say that.
Well, the other thing, we were talking about how when everything gets shut down on a starship and you're just floating there, that's like the worst moment for a captain. I loved how cool Sonya Gomez was.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to
Because
say that too, yeah.
She's like, okay, that's enough as existential dread. Let's get back to work.
Yeah, I like the fact that she was thinking
it's-
outside the box. She was
Yeah.
like, let's get the shuttlecraft and maybe we can angle it using the shuttlecraft's engines. I
Yeah,
thought-
she was still doing
Yeah.
stuff. So I like this, like, yeah, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it is the end of the world, but it's not. Let's get back to work and work the problem. I think
She
that
was true
was wonderful.
Starfleet.
And she
Yeah.
was thinking about her crew. The fact that one of the things she decided that she was going to try to focus on was getting the crew off, even if she
Yep.
couldn't get herself off.
Even when
she's
she said,
incredible.
get to the back of the ship. I don't know if
You
that
know,
was in this
Yes.
section
Yep.
or not,
It's-
but yeah.
It's
Getting
really-
yourself off seems like a personal problem.
It's really
Well, if you're having a problem with it, you're doing something wrong.
it's
But if you're trying to
really
get the whole crew off, I mean, that's a whole nother holodeck
gotcha.
program.
just
Well-
go to the holodeck.
But you realize that both Picard and Riker was both sitting there when they read the report and goes, yeah, we taught her that.
Yeah, oh, totally. I thought that too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would be very proud of her, I think.
It's
Yeah,
really
really.
admirable too, because the way that she acted, especially because you know that she was scared shitless. She was so scared shitless that she missed the first contact meeting because she's like, I'm going to be in the bathroom for a while. I'm not scared shitless. And she was able to keep her cool
Spoiler.
through all of it. Next section.
Heather's spoiling stuff today.
Heather's got her leaping
know.
shoes on today.
What the hell, girl?
Heather's really jumpy today. Jump into the next section.
Well, I'm
right.
always the
Stephanie
one
is
saying
here.
next section to you guys. Now it's your turn to say
That's
it to me.
true.
I guess so.
And,
man.
and now Stephanie, just because Stephanie is here. Okay.
Wait, I heard
Patrick?
my name and I heard here.
No. Heather is jumpy because you're here.
Yeah, it's because
Alpha females always love
Girl
bonding.
power.
Well, I was
Alpha
going to say,
females.
Girl power.
she likes having another woman around.
Another alpha woman.
Let's
because both of
ditch
you
these
guys are
guys.
alpha.
Let's go to the
I
holodeck.
only count as half, so.
You can come with us, I guess.
Okay, let's move on to the next section before I say something that's getting me totally reprimanded.
I'm not saying anything either. Yeah. Next section.
HR is going to be, thank God we're on a tight beam today.
HR.
Okay, Act 3. Whales saved the day. Wait, didn't we save them? Let's save everyone.
Nice.
Kimolu and Matt bring an unconscious Boimler to the surface, and Tendi begins CPR and resuscitates him. Kimolu invites them to go skinny dipping, and Boimler says he saw a koala. Ransom is continuing to navigate the debris field when a massive chunk of rock hits them and throws Mariner out into space. Before she gets too far out, guess who saves her? Jennifer! The Archimedes is minutes from entering the Lapirian atmosphere. The starboard nacelle is torn away as they hit the atmosphere. The Lapirians watch excitedly from the ground, unaware of the impending doom. Suddenly, the Cerritos has her in a tractor beam, saving them from crashing into the planet.
Okay, the one that I thought was really funny, I just have to go with the beluga whales when they brought Boimler up and he took him out. He blew his blowhole.
Yeah, his blowhole's broken.
His blowhole was broken.
Don't let him try out.
Throw water on him. I was in tears.
Hose him off real quick. He'll be
His
fine.
And then when he's okay, we should celebrate by going skinny dipping it.
Yes.
Oh, it's like, oh my God.
They have at least one track, maybe 2 track minds.
Okay, am I missing something? What is the koala reference?
Okay, that reference, what episode was it? Was it Tendi who saw it? I can't remember who saw it. Somebody saw the koala at the end, and it was, gosh.
I can't remember.
It was a first season Lower Decks.
We'll have to look at that because I'm like, Tendi's like, just don't mention that.
Yeah, because I guess Tendi saw it because it was like the end of all things, and then I saw a koala, and it was like no reason. It was like the punchline of the whole joke.
No, it was because remember in the earlier episode with Lieutenant O'Connor when he was ascending.
That's what it was. The ascension guy.
Ascension. When he was ascending, he says he saw a koala resting on its back. When
That's
he was
what it was. That's what it was. Yeah. And it's just like, don't talk about the koala.
So that's why.
Okay. I knew there was a reference. I just couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah, that one gave me a good alluding to. That one was pretty funny.
But they saved him. They saved him despite his blowhole being broken.
Yeah, Rutherford's like, let's get him to medical, and Tendi's like, we don't have time.
She was doing CPR on him right there. It was awesome. Yeah,
she was on it, which I didn't know that the EV suits can flex so well, but they were able to do it. So I thought that was really cool. Hey, Brian, is your blowhole broken?
Not currently, no.
No, okay, good. Just wanted to check. See,
thanks for asking, though.
You're quite welcome.
I was quite concerned you may have broken your blowhole, sir.
I know it's a concern, but a lot of people, they just don't talk about it. So
we can get Stephanie throw water on you to make sure you're okay.
So it don't dry out.
So it doesn't dry out.
So you don't dry out.
You got to keep your
blowhole is just
Yeah, you got to keep your blowhole moist.
I don't know if I've ever laughed that hard at those whales.
That was so funny. And then Mariner gets bounced out of the ship. Was that the section or the last?
Yeah. But she gets saved. She gets saved by Jen.
By the one person you didn't expect.
She was lost in space.
And then Jen must have, because Jen got out there quick, or she was like hitching a ride so she can get a view. But she got there fast.
Yeah.
And it was able to save her before she went off into the wild, dark.
Because I don't remember Jen being on the bridge as Mariner went out. Maybe she was.
She was on the bridge.
Because Mariner was on one side looking at, I think, the right side of the ship, and she was on the other side looking at the left side of the ship, and they were both talking to Ransom, telling like what the incoming was. Okay. So she was right there.
It makes me concerned because in all of the, the advancements in technology with these mag boots, and they still can let you get free like that. Astronauts today, they have, hooks. They've got wires. They have what do you call it? Tethers. Thank you. I forgot the damn name. They have tethers to keep them in place or keep them attached to whatever ship they're working on. And they were not using this technology in Lower Decks.
But I don't think they were using it while they were on the bridge because artificial gravity obviously was still turned on because
and there's no seatbelts
floating in the Cetacean.
And there's no seatbelts. So when they suddenly stop, someone flies out the window. I mean, this is like seatbelts. Hello.
Constantly bugs
Only a couple of movies ever showed seatbelts. Most of the time, you're right.
And Stephanie, Jinx. Mm-hmm. Do you notice like we both said tethered at like the same time?
Yeah.
Jinx.
I hate it when the word you're about to talk about just escapes your brain as you're about to say it. It's just one of those things.
That was me earlier when I said overview syndrome. It's overview effect. Like, so it's not
syndrome
a syndrome
effect,
The overview
tomato.
Yeah, it's definitely a disease of the mind.
Oh, you know what just occurred to me? I missed this from the last section. Rutherford has 3 copies of all of his memories of Tendi on him. Yeah. And I thought that was really awesome and really sweet. But the IT guys of the crowd, the IT guys of the crowd know that, you're supposed to have 3 copies, but you're supposed to have them in like 2 locations, 2 different formats, medium, whatever. It's kind of like, the standard practice wasn't completely followed. You can't keep it all in your head, man.
You don't leave everything on one hard drive.
You got to copy it on. You got to have another drive somewhere else. You got to mount the computer drive once in a while.
Yeah,
I said mount.
I really liked the last memory they showed when he was erasing all the memories. And it's like,
and he was so casual. He was so casual when he was like, and I think I uncovered something I wasn't supposed to know.
I don't think I was supposed to see that. I wonder what that was.
Oh my God. What if someone asks why he has it? We programmed that in. They'll think it was elective. Insert drill
It's
into
like, wait
brain.
a minute, what's going on there? So that's
we're like, was he RoboCopped? Was he like RoboCopped?
Totally
He was
RoboCopped.
totally RoboCopped.
But that's one of those breadcrumbs that leads to we're going to have another episode or another half of this episode.
Yeah, there's some nefarious purpose that they did it because apparently they didn't want him to remember, and they implanted a false memory in him.
And I was wondering, is that Section 31's operation?
I was wondering the same thing. Yeah.
And when did this happen? Did it happen the first time that they did this implant, or was it when he had the implant replaced when it was removed that time?
Yeah, so
Good question.
This
Very
is gonna
interesting.
Be interesting.
I love how
do
they're
it.
setting up these breadcrumbs for season 3. Like all of these things that we want, they're setting it up now, and I love that.
It's definitely going to be interesting. So I'm looking forward to see how they're going to develop everything. And then you have the crew of the Archimedes being stoic, and they're all going to their death, and they're all going to stay with their captain because they're loyal. And she's like, go to the back, and they're like, no. And the other guy's like, we got equal rights, so we're not going to the back of the bus anymore. We're going to sit right up front here with you. And all of a sudden, everything stops.
He's like, we made a decision. We're going to go out. We're going to go out together. And then all of a sudden, it's like right out of that moment in Discovery where just out of nowhere, a tractor beam comes in and saves your ass.
Yeah.
5 minutes to impact.
That was really wild. Yeah. And they were able to stabilize it.
On the other side of it, though, when there were aliens were looking at it from the ground and they were seeing the fireball. I love that cute little moment where the alien picks up its kid and holds it up.
Yes.
That was like, oh, that's kind of sweet.
It was.
It was like a Lion King moment. He's like holding up the baby to
it's like, here, we've got death approaching our way, and there's nothing else to do but look at it because it's pretty. Here, look at this. This is
but
cool.
they had no idea that it would have destroyed them. So, but it was like, well, that's like a shooting star. This is so cool. That's
because that was first contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
That was a great detail.
I guess next section.
Interlude.
Wait, I thought this was. Aren't we on the last section?
There was like another section. There's like a section 4.
Another section.
I missed it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Interlude. First contact. Sabotage by the Beastie Boys. Freeman gets shafted, not shaxed. Freeman, Mariner, Shax, and Ransom beam down to the planet to make first contact and get a huge hug from the Lapirian leader. Let's drink! In sickbay, Tendi is treated injured when Dr. Tana calls her to the office. I know I don't belong in sickbay. No, you don't. I'm moving you to senior science officer training, like Spock, not Jadzia. Who? Tendi gives her a big hug and Dr. Tana purrs. Joined in orbit by a Parliament class, Oberth class, Nova class, and another California class, Freeman celebrates. Mariner thanks Jennifer for saving her life, but don't get too clingy. They commend Boimler for being a hero. As Freeman raises a toast, she gets a message from Starfleet Command requesting to come aboard. Thinking this is about the promotion, everyone congratulates her. Freeman says she's turning it down because there's no place like home. Commander Mendel greets Freeman, Shax, Mariner, and Ransom in the ready room, where she's arrested for the destruction of the Pakled planet. Mendel says they have proof she collaborated with Klingon extremists to destroy the planet with a Veruvian bomb. All of this happened while Freeman was navigating a debris field and saving the Archimedes. Freeman orders them to stand down. She says she has truth on her side and that doesn't want the crew to know until they know more about it. Crew watches stunned as the Nova-class ship with Freeman aboard goes to warp.
This was a twist.
What a cliffhanger.
It really was.
It wasn't quite, that moment where Riker yells, fire. But it was still a big cliffhanger. I was kind of expecting a cliffhanger, but I was like, I wonder if they're going to do a cliffhanger. And they totally did a cliffhanger.
The look on Freeman's face, they did a great job with illustration. You can see she was heartbroken that the crew was there when she's being led out by handcuffs.
Yeah, it was like the moment, it's like, this is awful. This is the most embarrassing thing to ever happen. And then the doors open and your entire crew is looking right at you.
Sees it.
And it's like,
having been walked through a crowd of people handcuffed, I can attest to how embarrassing that is.
It's the walk of shame. It's like the woman behind her ringing the bell.
Never a proud moment.
Shame.
It was what got me is like, okay, so that tells me is that when the Klingon ship made it back to the homeworld, they decided to get rid of the Pakled homeworld.
I'm just like, the Pakleds could screw up their own homeworld that instantly too if they're experimenting with something.
No, but
I mean,
worried about the
like,
Pakled.
They probably pressed the red button on the Veruvian bomb going, what does this do?
No, not that button.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
but how did the
That
pictures
button look strong? Boom.
Yeah, but how did the pictures get there? So that
they
means that
photoshopped it.
somebody
Photoshopped
didn't.
it.
Packlets aren't smart enough to do that.
No,
which
the
means there was
Klingons
a
did it.
buy-in from the Klingon Council when the guy went back and told him what happened. And he says, "Oh, well, the guy had a good idea, so let's take it a step further. Let's kill two birds with one stone. Let's destroy these idiot Packlets." And then have the Federation take out this person that was, a thorn in our side. Give us a leg up.
Wasn't
Freeman-
the Klingons a part of the Federation though? So isn't that?
Yeah, they were, but they wanted war. Well,
They
the
always
guy
want
that
war.
died on the ship wanted war. He wanted to, and that guy, I forgot his name, but killed him because he wanted killed the guy. So it was like, wow. It was kind of like the way they did with Kirk when Kirk got arrested and sent to Europente.
You know what? I think that Mike McMahon was a big fan of
Undiscovered Country.
no, not Discovery Country, but oh God, what was the show where with Dawn and oh God. Anyway, the naming of Ma'a is the same as the naming of Ma'a. So it was Space Fire. No, I can't think of the name of it. It's driving me crazy. Okay, never mind. Move on. I'll think of it.
Now you left us hanging like you do all your dates. Okay.
Another cliffhanger. Oh my god.
Another cliffhanger. You weren't expecting us to get a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
just
all we
so
have
much.
I should roll the music now, right, sir? That's all we have time for.
Oh man.
And you get
I'm
which,
I
looking
need
it up.
answers.
and you get 10 days. Don't interrupt me once you find the answer. Wait till a lull in speech because you like to jump in there with both boots. Okay, when Tendi is helping everyone in medical and the doctor calls her over and you can see she's sad. She's like, "Oh, it's like you don't want me here." Yeah, you're right. I don't want you here.
So it's like,
You
I want you
don't
somewhere
belong
where you're
here.
useful.
Yeah, and it's like you're going to be a science officer, and she's like,
Like
oh my
Jadzia
god,
Dax.
Jadzia
like
Dax.
Jizz Dax.
Yeah.
And she's like, who the hell is
What the
that?
hell is that?
No, who the fuck is that?
I love that she goes old school with Spock. I think that's awesome.
Yes.
That puts her
I
right in
think
that
that's
reference.
cool. I told you she's a fan of TOS. She's like,
I
Well,
like that
it's-
what she said though. She said, "You master everything you put your mind to."
Yeah.
It's unsettling.
It's unsettling. Wasn't that so funny?
So that's how much Tendi deserves to be in the science divisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Tendi and Tiana hug and everything, and you hear the cat go purr purr. Like,
I thought that
I'm
was
okay
cool
with
'cause-
this.
I'm okay
yeah,
with
that's
this.
me. I'm a big hugger. So when she did that, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm okay with this."
That's awesome.
Yeah, you could
I
find
re-
the grumpiest cat in the world, and if you catch it in the right moment and give it a nice little, hug, and it feels good, it'll just change the personality of the grumpy cat.
So
I'm
the
okay
show
with
that I was
this.
thinking of was Earth Final Conflict,
Oh,
which was another Gene Roddenberry show. And
Ah.
the naming of the characters were like Da'an, which was DA''AN, or Zoor, ZO''OR. And the Klingon Ma'a was MA''AH. So I'm thinking Mike McMahon must have been a fan of Earth Final Conflict because he was using that same kind of naming convention.
okay.
Okay.
The more you
But
know.
just to tie into another Gene Roddenberry show.
Well, I like Freeman getting drunk.
It's like, wait, did she actually meet the representatives from that planet, or she just meet the party frat?
No, that was funny. It's like,
It was like, luckily, this is a very alcohol-friendly planet.
Because that'd be like, oh, hi, visitor from another world. Come on, let's party, dude. That's basically it,
yeah, they were basically a planet full of frat guys, which I thought was hysterical. This is an alien species. Let's get them drunk.
Yeah, why not? Let's party.
We'll get them drunk and take
very-
advantage of them.
A very welcoming culture.
That was cool. You could see they did a great job again with illustration because she
That's-
did look tossed.
Patrick, that's called immersing yourself in other cultures.
Big time.
Hello, I'm the foreign species liaison. I kind of know about that already. Thank you.
The Kirk on our ship.
Right?
See,
I had one little moment at the end because it was such an emotional scene, the big turnaround and she's getting taken away in the handcuffs. The music was so emotionally and was so well done. I have to give props up to how good the soundtrack is. And if you hadn't had a chance to go buy the soundtrack for Lower Decks, it is the music. You don't realize how good this is because you're busy laughing at everything. The music is cinema. Yeah, it's cinema level quality. I haven't actually gotten a chance to listen to it all the way through, but I started listening to it and I'm just like, oh, this is really good sounding music.
No, they do a great job.
It's up there with anything, any big movie soundtrack that you would buy. It's up there in quality.
Star Trek's really good at getting the most incredible composers, I have to say. Aside from, obviously, the theme song for Enterprise, even Enterprise had an incredible score underneath.
Yeah, no, you hear the music. They play it at the end of the show. I remember when you watch it on TV, there was a part where they squeeze the credits to the side and promo the next program coming up for the network. But when you watch it on DVD or Blu-ray or streaming or whatever, you get the actual music that's put in there. And that's the actual music for Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but getting that music, it's a long road getting from there to here.
Oh my God. What the hell did they do?
Like that.
They had good music and then they had that song. No. Okay.
It's rough, man.
It's rough. It really
rough.
is.
It is as rough as some of the scripts. Hey-o!
But I love Russell Watson's voice. I'm sorry, I do. I think he's got an amazing voice.
He sounds like he's
Rod Stewart do it.
constipated.
Yes.
Yeah, Rod Stewart version too. Yeah.
Well, normally he sang opera.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, think about how Enterprise would have been if they actually did Rod Stewart's song. You know, sit back, my virgin child.
Oh my
We
God.
could explore
Maggie,
space
I think
for
I
a
got
while.
something to say to you.
For all the youngsters that have no idea what they're talking about. It's
Still would have been better.
It's called easy listening. You would never listen to easy listening music in this, pop music soundtrack world.
We get some Alyssa Manchester going on there.
Anything would
It
be
takes
better.
place in the future, so it's coming back.
There you go. It's coming back again.
Also, I have to
Linda
say,
Ronstadt and some Carol Kane.
hell yes. Hell yes. The youngins these days, their musical taste is very informed, I have to say.
and their lack of it is very impressive.
No, I would say that they are actually more knowledgeable about previous.
It's interesting the music you hear, because some of it, I would agree. They've got some of it that has some class, but a lot of the popular stuff is just like, this is so unmusical music.
No, but it always
kids
is.
today, they don't listen to music anymore.
I mean, even the rap music doesn't have the same flavor as the hip hop we had in the 90s.
Oh, no.
There are some that are
does.
good though.
Yeah, and also pop music is always crap. Like, there's literally a song from the 1940s that's standing on a street corner watching all the girls go by, and one of the lines is, "You can't go to jail for what you're thinking." Like, pop music is always shit, and that is the delightful
brings
part.
all the boys to the yard.
Yeah, I mean, it does exactly what it needs to. It's perfect. Every decade has
everyone's favorite pop music is just what they heard when they were impressionable teenagers.
Yes.
And it just rolls like that for generations.
Yeah.
90s, baby.
But now they got
Pop music in the 80s was like Madonna and Prince and, maybe the Human League and the Thompson Twins.
Don't forget Cyndi Lauper.
Thompson Twins.
Yes. We had, in the 80s, we had the most diverse musical genres that have ever existed. And now it's just like pop, rap,
that's not true.
That is so not true. So not true. No.
It just sounds.
When you're plugged into the music scene of the time.
If you Google Dessa, Dessa, and who's yelling now, it's actually about the first female who was in charge of the Treasury. And they have a whole song and it's rap and it's really good. And it's about the first female. Thank you. It's really freaking good. And it's like really recent, like just a year or two ago, like some of this stuff, if you get into the rabbit hole of some of this music, it's really, really good.
But you can find out by listening to the Tickety Talk and the Grippy Graham and all the other stuff that the young kids listen to. And they can get off my lawn.
Tickety Talk.
What did get off my lawn too? Thank you, sir.
What to bring up real quick, because I know we're running over time here, because I just got a blink warning that I need to drop off our guest back before it starts to interrupt the flow. of the timeline. Remember in the beginning when they talk about they didn't want a new captain, and he says, "I hope we don't get a person with a swagger stick."
Riding crop.
A riding crop.
Yeah. That makes me wonder if they're going to wind up getting a captain next season with a riding crop. Their worst thing.
Of course.
And they're going to try to save.
We've already got the rubber ducky room and the holodeck with the St. Andrew's cross, so the riding crop would fit right in.
Yeah, and how are they going to figure a way to save the captain? Because they're going to do that, and there's going to be some sort of mutiny. They're going to have to because I can't see a captain being on board the ship and just go ahead and do that.
They got all do some the research. Parts laid out to be very interesting. Because you had all of the Packlet and Klingon thing going on. You've got Rutherford's behind the scenes drilling. I don't know what's going on with him. You've got Tendi's going to get science-y. We saw that Vulcan. We think the Vulcan's going to come in. I'm really excited for season 3. Not just because the show is fucking hilarious, but it sounds like it's getting pretty damn interesting too.
They're going to have to do something. So either Mariner's going to go Bruce Willis and do a Die Hard solo thing, but she's not going to be solo because Tendi and Boimler is going to go with her, and as well as Rutherford.
And you see Boimler stepping up too, because he's got that time on the Titan that's really affected him.
And we still haven't seen the other Boimler that's on the Titan.
You've got the other Boimler out there,
William. So it'd be really curious on how they're going to do this. As a season finale and as a cliffhanger, it was well done. It made me want to see next season right now to see what's going to happen to Freeman with her record and the fact that she saved the Archimedes and everything. In that security, they had no humor. The guy wasn't even subtle. He just snapped it and walked it.
I mean, he was human, but he was acting like he was Spock when he just got his Katra back.
Yeah, I don't trust that guy.
Those guys that come aboard with the handcuffs, they never look happy.
Yeah. So there's a really great article on Gizmodo, by the way, where Mike McMahon talks about season 2, and he talks about how he decided to do essentially a reset of the characters starting season 2. And I think his doing that and the attention to detail and the really subtle emotional dives into the characters is setting the stage for a really phenomenal season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that we got to see Tendi, a little bit of Tendi's background this time.
Yes, that was probably one of my favorite parts.
What was it? Queen of the Northern Lights or something like that? Queen of
the Winter or something, yeah.
And just the line where she was like, not everyone on Orion is a thief or a burglar. And then she's like, oh, my cousin's in this thief oasis.
He's the head of the guild,
Oh, yeah.
No stereotypes.
It was a really good season finale, in my opinion.
I'm sorry.
It was a culmination.
I'm flashing back to that
thing.
Scene where she's like, talk like a pirate. And then Mariner talks.
Yes.
Not that kind of pirate.
Talk like a pirate day. They still have it in 2362, wherever we are in.
Sorry, it just occurred to me, Captain. I apologize.
No, that's all right. It was quite fun. First, thank you for not being totally upset that we snapped and grabbed you and your wonderful husband. You see, it's telling us right then and there we need to drop you back. We have a time limit that we have to let it go, you guys. So, thank you. And thank you for not singing the song. So we're going to get ready to re-engage Cloak and get past Earth defenses again and drop them off. However, thanks everyone for joining us. Remember to look for that game. The link is going to be in the show notes. Thank you for joining us for our premiere.
One more thing before we go. If you haven't already, watch the after show and live long and fucking prosper.
Yes.
Nice.
That was a cool thing. She gave a really nice ending.
That was really cool, that after show. When they replayed the clips from them when they were bleeped out with the spoilers.
That was awesome.
That was well done.
It was extremely fun.
There was a really wonderful moment with Will Wheaton in that.
It was. Yeah. That was
when he got when the
censored by Section 31.
Yeah, don't spoil it for people. Let them see it. Thank you. Just in time. Okay. Remember, look at our show notes. You'll see the link to the game, which is really awesome. It's got high marks. Make sure you buy it. Also, make sure you have enough money left that you could donate to our Patreon and become a member as little as $1. So you can really help to support us. If you're listening to us for the first time on YouTube, please click that like button and subscribe. as well as a notification so you can always tell when we drop it, because sometimes we get temporal issues where we can't get the show to start off when it's supposed to.
And where the fuck have you been? We've been on the air for 2 years.
So you need to be able to enjoy us. So thank you, everyone, for being on board. Doc, get ready to set navigation to lay in a course to get them back to Earth. Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Brian, for being here, even though it was kind of against your will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was against his will?
Yeah, well, it was against Will Wheaton. But it was kind of cool.
They were pressed up against Will when we snatched him.
Yeah, so we're going to try to put it back right on that moment before he goes, never mind,
we're
I'm
good.
getting ready to say something.
You
Yeah, I'm good.
Put us somewhere else.
Okay, it's going to be a hit. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. Please make sure you just don't have a great week, but make it so.
Hey. Wow, look at that. Oh, wow. Okay, guys, take 5. It's a lunch break time.
And if you can, support the show by going to patreon.com/Starfleet Underground. Lots of perks to choose from, and you might even like some of them. Starfleet Underground, beaming into a podcast feed near you. Log on to our website at starfleetunderground.com and send your comments and questions to thecollective@starfleetunderground.com. Follow us on Twitter at StarfleetUnderG and on Facebook and Instagram, we're Starfleet Underground.